Today's story is about a writer who could ruin the life of any girl to meet her physical needs. If you like the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. The first scene in the film shows Joe being a writer who wants to write a novel. But he can't write the novel at all. Joe gets annoyed and sits on a beach. There Joe sees a girl sitting indifferently in front of him. Joe then went to the girl and sat down and started talking to her. He then knew the girl's name was Kathy. Kathy likes Joe talking to Kathy. Joe wants to know if Kathy has a boyfriend. Kathy says she had a boyfriend who left her yesterday. From then on, Joe and Kathy met every day. Some of these times Kathy is intimate in Kathy's room with Joe. Kathy lets Joe stay with Joe because he doesn't have a house. Kathy worked in an office and Joe would sit at home trying to write a novel, but he couldn't write anything. Naza used to sit next to the typewriter all day. When Kathy returned home, all the anger fell on Kathy. One day they got into trouble and Joe came out of Kathy's house and he threw his typewriter into the river. Here Joe meets Leigh. Leigh tells him to work on the ship. Joe agrees. He, his wife and son lived on his ship. Leigh's wife's name is Ella and son's name is Jim. Joe began living on the ship with Leigh's family. Joe used to see Kathy every day. One day Clay met in a truck garage by the river and became intimate. There's Kathy. Joe who says she's pageant. But Joe denies that kid. And from there on out, Joe didn't want the type for marriage or children. Joe wanted to enjoy Kathy. Kathy runs to Joe and falls into the river and Kathy dies. The next morning he saw Kathy's body floating in the river. Leigh and Joe lift Kathy's body up the river. They informed the police. Leigh was an old man and Ella was a young woman. Also, Leigh was drunk. Leigh couldn't meet Ella's physical needs. As a result, Ella slowly begins to like Joe. One day, while having dinner, Joe touches Ella's body. Ella interrupts him, but Ella enjoys it. Then one night when Leigh went out, an intimate was formed between a bush on the bank of the river. Joe and Ella wanted to get closer to Joe after getting physical happiness after many days. From then on, Joe and Ella intimate 2-3 times a day. But Leigh is so frustrated that he leaves the ship. Then Ella wants to marry Joe. But Joe doesn't want that. Ella wants a divorce when she meets Leigh and Ella. One day Ella wants to go to her sister's house because Ella's sister's husband died a few days ago. Joe, meanwhile, wonders how to relate to Ella's sister. Joe's magic works there too. Ella arrives on the ship with her sister. One day, while returning from the hotel with Ella's sister, Joe meets Ella's sister's physical needs on the street. One day when Ella leaves, Joe and Ella's sister are busy taking care of their physical needs. Ella comes back to find out, and Ella left the ship. Ella's sister is so good that no one else will come between her and Joe. But Joe is very sorry for his actions and he leaves the ship. Joe goes to a liquor store. From there he met a man who rented a house to Joe. And he introduces himself to his wife. And here too the brothers' magic works. Joe falls in love with the man's wife. Then it is seen who is Kathy's death. The lawsuit was settled out of court. Kathy's ex-boyfriend is convicted of Kathy's death and sentenced to death. Joe's upset, but he didn't say anything. Joe then goes out again for new prey. This is where the movie ends. If you like the video, please like and subscribe to the channel.